And take two. Good morning. As you know, oftentimes I use this moment to give a memorial or to say something about the piece I'm about to play, or even just respectfully say, shh. I was asked a couple weeks ago, or a week or so ago, why I didn't make a memorial for Gordon Lightfoot, the wonderful singer-songwriter who passed just recently. And a couple of reasons for that. Number one, as wonderful as a composer he was, and as wonderful as a singer-songwriter, he's not a person who had an enormous personal effect on me. And the other, perhaps more telling reason is he wrote beautiful, beautiful words. And so many of his songs are about the words. And I'll be honest, I didn't feel like I could do justice to one of his songs. I looked at a couple of them. I didn't feel like I could do justice to any of his songs with just the solo piano. So to that end, I've got some things in mind. Watch the choir over the next year. I've got some things in mind for next season, since we're starting to wind down in the choir season. So next year, I'm hoping to get some Gordon Lightfoot in for the choir. And happy Mother's Day to those who celebrate. I realize that not everybody had a wonderful or perfect relationship with their mothers or with their families of origin. I was fortunate that mine was mostly okay, pretty good, in fact, but not always. So those of you who are mothers, I hope you're doing better, and I hope you're doing well. And if you're here, I'm pretty sure you are. So thank you all. Good morning.
Good morning. You know, it's starting to be such a pleasure to be able to be up here and look at people and recognize faces, and I can wave at people and all of that. It's so great to finally feel a part of a place, and I definitely do feel that here. I want to welcome you this morning, and we are celebrating sort of a dual kind of thing today. And I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day for those of you who have good feelings about Mother's Day, and we'll talk about that a little bit, and the 100th anniversary of Flower Communion. And most of all, I welcome you here to the Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation. We who are present here in this sanctuary greet and welcome those who are attending virtually. So I'd like for you to turn and wave at those who are at home. Make sure they feel a part of what's going on here. We realize that we are better and stronger because we are here together. My name is Linda Logan, and I am a pastoral associate here at MVUU. You know, it takes a devoted team to choreograph these Sunday mornings, and I've certainly noticed that with Robin, who's doing all the work here today. But I feel that everyone who is here, we have our Zoom host, we have audio visuals, we have the refreshment committee, which I always give a little extra thank you to, and those who teach the children to bring them along and help them to understand the principles that are being taught here. I love Chris Tackett, he knows I love him dearly, who provides our perfectly planned music. And of course, thank you to the good Reverend Matthew, who continues to raise our individual consciousness. And today will be no different, as we have a guest speaker, and we're going to make this day one that you will remember. I was thinking about Mother's Day and what it means. This is my most gorgeous, wonderful great-granddaughter, Elle, who I am just terribly in love with and have no guilt about showing her picture to people, strangers on the street, because I think they need a day brightener, you know, what do you do? But you know, I was thinking when my granddaughter announced that she was pregnant and about to have a child, I was very, very happy, but I was also terrified for her because I knew what she was getting ready to get into. This is a world that until you are in the world and have had a child, that you will never, ever understand what it is to be a mother. I often think about the fact that with Mother's Day, we are always looking sort of from the child's point of view, you know, and kids and people are saying, well, my mother wasn't wonderful, and I had an unhappy childhood and all of that. But I want to come from the perspective of the mother. Being a mother is the hardest thing that I have ever done. Not understanding, you know, we're not given a manual that says you do this, and well, they do, you feed them at this time, you do this, but they don't say anything about what's going to happen so far as psychologically and emotionally and all of those things. I don't think we as mothers before we had children understood that it was much more than giving birth, that we were at a place where it was going to be 18 years for sure, and now my daughter is 62 years old, so I know it lasts forever. Absolutely forever. But I want you to think about what it is to be a mother. I want to come away from being the child and realize that being a mother, as I said, the hardest thing I've ever done. We don't know what we're doing, and we're so terrified of making mistakes. And every mother makes mistakes. But we don't see it that way. I'm the child, and she should be taking care of me and doing all these things. Well, most of our mothers were just coming out of their own childhoods, too. And they had wishes and desires and things they wanted to do that were not going to happen now, probably. I often think about my mother standing at the kitchen sink, sort of dancing around. And when I came to understand that she had a possible career as a dancer that was cut short by becoming a mother. And that was her only moment when she could sort of relive that little part of her life. I want you to think about what it is to be a mother, and let's not be so hard on the mothers. We did the best we could do. Sometimes the best wasn't what was satisfying to you, but we did the best we could. So when I say Happy Mother's Day, I'm really saying it to the mothers. I'm not saying it from the perspective of the children talking about their mothers. I'm doing it from the mother's perspective. Love your mother, honor your mother. Whatever she was, however angry she made you. I think about my daughter. I know she was. Again, I think about how it was for me. I would come home from work, pick her up. We would go and have dinner. I would help with the homework. I would get her bathed and to bed, and then I would go to bed and cry for the rest of the night because it was so scary. So I want you to think about that, and I want you to think about your mothers. No matter what role they played, I want you to give them respect, to give them love, give them understanding. Know that it wasn't the easiest thing in the world for them at all. Stop being so self-involved. And as our chalice lighting, we're not going to actually have a chalice because we were afraid that the paper flowers would burn up, and Matthew would not be happy if he came back and this place was in ashes, so we're not doing that. But we light this chalice for mothers and mothering, to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one baby, child, or youth into adulthood, to celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, energy to the growth of others in this world. We symbolically light this chalice to celebrate and hold clear the flame of love.
Spring has now unwrapped the flowers, day is fast arriving, life in all her growing powers, for the light is striving, gone the iron touch of cold, winter time and frost time, seedlings working through the mold, now make up for lost time. Herb and plant that winter long, dimmered at the leisure, now be stirring green and strong, find and growth their pleasure. All the world with beauty fills, gold the green enhancing, beavers being among the hills, set the meadows dancing.
Behold my face. I said it last year on Mother's Day, so I thought I'd say it again this year. Good morning. Can we get that slide up real quick? That's my mom. There she is. She's with us in spirit today. I wanted to take a quick moment, following up a little bit on what Linda said, to honor the people who don't necessarily feel like Mother's Day is a cause to celebrate. Not everybody had a mother. Maybe you had a mother and she wasn't the best. Like Linda said, respect the process. But you might not have had a mother at all. Or maybe your mother was incredibly abusive. Who knows what the situation was? There could be a dozen shades of no thank you, I'm not celebrating today. For me, it's a day of grief. It's almost 5 years to the date that I lost my mother. And even saying it, I feel the grief welling inside of me. And I've gotten a little better at talking about my mother without breaking into massive amounts of tears, but it still hurts to not have her with me. So that's why I put that little silly picture of us together on the slideshow as a little moment to have a smile in the grief. And I'd like to share a piece today that is called A Prayer for All Who Mother. Because again, you might do mothering or have someone who has been like a mother, but not necessarily a mother. So this is a piece that kind of opens the inclusion a little bit to everybody else. It's written by Victoria Weinstein. We reflect in thanksgiving this day for all those whose lives have nurtured ours, the life-giving ones who heal with their presence, who listen in sympathy, who give advice, wise advice, but only when asked for it. We are grateful for all those who have mothered us, who have held us gently in times of sorrow, who celebrated with us our triumphs, no matter how small, who noticed when we changed and grew, who praised us for taking risks, who took genuine pride in our success, and who expressed genuine compassion when we did not succeed. On this day that honors mothers, let us honor all mothers, men and women alike, who from somewhere in their being have freely and wholeheartedly given life and sustenance and vision to us all. Dear God, Mother, Father of us all, grant us life-giving ways, strength for birthing, and a nurturing spirit that we may take attentive care of our world, our communities, and those precious beings entrusted to us by biology, or by destiny, or by friendship, fellowship, or fate. Give us the heart of a mother today. Amen.
Good morning and happy Mother's Day. My name is Erin Eichelberger, and I'm going to share a little bit of the history of the Flower Communion. This is from the Reverends Teresa Swartz and David Swartz. The story of Norbert Chapik Flower Communion, or Flower Ceremony, or Flower Communion. There's a lot of last names that are not familiar to me to pronounce so. So his mother was a devout Catholic, his father agnostic. He became an acolyte at age 10 in 1890 at St. Martin's Catholic Church. In the years that followed, he became disillusioned. His priest was a cynic. At 18, he apprenticed to his uncle, a successful tailor in Vienna. Norbert discovered the Baptists and became a minister. He founded almost a dozen churches from Ukraine to Budapest. Yet slowly, his faith became more and more liberal. He left Bohemia under government threat and accepted a call to serve a Baptist church in New York City, until one day in 1919. That day, he wrote in his diary, "I cannot be a Baptist anymore, even in compromise. The fire of new desires, new worlds is burning inside me." Norbert and his wife, Maya Chapik, joined a Unitarian church in New Jersey in 1921. For the same reason a whole lot of you did, possibly. Their children enjoyed the religious education program, or they were looking for something that spoke to them. World War I ended. His home country now independent, he and Maya returned home to Czechoslovakia. His Unitarian church was the Prague Liberal Religious Fellowship. In just 20 years, his church had 3,200 members. The traditional Christian communion service of bread and wine wouldn't meet the needs of his congregation because his church, like ours, had people who believed in different things. Chapik turned to the beauty of the countryside, to the beauty of flowers. In 1923, he developed the flower ceremony. He asked his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, the field, or the roadside. He invited each person to place their flower in a vase. There was the church community, no less unique for being united. Following the service, each person could take a flower from the vase, a different one than they had brought. Chapik was a visionary minister with a church ahead of its time, a bold church, a church thinking beyond its doors, beyond what it thought possible. It was a church that was willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, to bear disappointment, and to build a new way. First, by building a church, or buying one, like we have. And that church could build up the world. This is our church. That was Chapik's church. For this, the Gestapo arrested him in 1942. The Nazis accused Chapik of listening to foreign broadcasts and sent him to Dachau concentration camp. Even in starvation and torture, he held a flower ceremony with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could among the weeds of the camp. They testified to a beauty larger than themselves and a love that would outlive them. The Nazis killed Norbert Chapik, but his spirit, courage, and commitment live on today. Those qualities have passed now to us and to make them real. His wife Maya brought the flower ceremony to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1940. What we are about to do is not a historical reenactment of something over and done with, but an affirmation of our continuity with the generations of struggle for ever-widening liberty. This flower communion, lovely though it is, isn't a diversion from ugly reality, but a gentle fierceness which proclaims that in the midst of sinister days, there is always the light of beauty. We are here not to recall something that happened, but to remember something that is happening, to remember, to put it back together again. And in that remembering, may we put ourselves back together again, each as a part of the body of this community, out of many, one. Today, we celebrate this ritual of solemnity and joy, as Chapik asks his people to bring a flower and celebrate beauty. So shall we.
As the choir comes up, that's your cue. We're going to sing two pieces, kind of smushed together. This is, I kind of consider this the choral version of Clean Out the Refrigerator. We're singing one more time before we take our summer break. After today, we'll be singing on the last Sunday of the month as well too, but we will then take the rest of the summer off. In the folder, we had this lovely piece I passed out last October called The Great Symphonic Bim Bam. It's a collected piece found somewhere in Eastern Europe, not entirely sure where. It comes out of Hasidic tradition. It's a lovely little vocal dance piece, and I've been very much wanting to bring it to you. But so far, over the last almost a year now, I've had no place to put it. Sometimes you pass out music, you learn music because you want the choir to sing it, you want them to have the experience of it, but then it doesn't work anywhere in service. This last week, we looked at Reverend Chopek's hymn, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. It's number 8 in the Gray Hymnal, but it's a lovely tune. And I looked at that, and I looked at the Great Symphonic Bim Bam, and I went, oh, they're about the same tempo. They're in the same key. Let's see what we can do. So we kind of smushed them together, and this is the result. This hymn is from Reverend Chopek's words, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. And I was also asked to stretch a little bit. I realize I don't have to anymore, so we're going to sing here in a second. But one of the reasons I was asked to stretch is choir member Monica was up there a moment ago running the camera. So Lee has asked me very nicely if anybody else has any further interest in joining the AV team, or if anybody wants to come join the choir. We meet Wednesdays at 6:30. If you want to get involved with the AV team, go talk with Lee after the service, and they'll be happy to help you. Right back there, and they'll be happy to help you, connect you with the group. So thank you so much.
That was fun. So I love the flower communion. I love the flower communion. I happened to mention that in front of Reverend Matthew, and next thing I know, I got an email from Robin. I mean, I'm thrilled to be a part of this ceremony. I've been a part of this ceremony all of my life, pretty much. I had to go get a shirt with flowers for today. So as I said, I've participated this since I could walk. And I was always excited for this service to occur as a child. There's several reasons why I love this service. One, the flower communion was one of the few multi-generational services at my UU church that I grew up in. The flower communion always happened, hey guys, come on in. We got these comfy little bean bags for you. Okay, so it always happened around spring, which is my favorite time of the year. Hence, what I'm having to say is on purple and yellow papers to kind of celebrate spring still. In Pittsburgh, spring liked to tease me. Flowers like daffodils and crocuses were hardy enough to deal with the late spring snow and brought lots of color to the very drab time of the year. It was exciting to see spring trying to pop up through the ground again. The flower communion, to me, celebrated this reawakening of the earth by asking everyone to bring these hardy flowers from their yards to the church to decorate the altar, as you can see we have here, which is beautiful. At some point in the service at my church, all the children were asked to come up and take one of the flowers and bring them out to the members of the church. I still remember this rule. You may not pick your own flower and take that home. Even if you gave it to your mother, you were not allowed to do that. But when there's tons of daffodils, who knew which one was yours or not? And I did. I would come up, take a flower, bring it to my mom, bring it to other congregants that were family friends that I knew. As I grew up, I was able to go out to people who maybe I hadn't met yet in the congregation. Looking back, I now realize that this provided a connection between the youth and an adult that might not have happened prior. Throughout my childhood, I also attended many different faith services because I'd sleep over a friend's house and then we have to go to their church. And I have many non-UUs, basically it's just my mom and I who are continued as UUs in the family. We'd go to church with them. I always dreaded the time for communion because either I sat on a pew by myself, stood out like a sore thumb that I wasn't doing this, or I'd have to go up with my arms across and get a blessing. At least the blessing wasn't bad, I didn't mind it much, but I just dreaded those things. It just wasn't a positive experience for me. Though I never connected the flower communion with that type of communion. Because for me, this was filled with joy and it connected the community to each other. And it was filled with living things and colorful things. So the other communions I had experienced was just so different from what the flower communion was I had experienced. Then in high school, at Sunday school, I did finally learn the history, or at least I remember the history. I'm sure it was told many times in the service, but didn't make any connection for me. I was thrilled to find out this was something that was developed by a UU for UU. I also was really excited that it was connecting me to my Bohemian roots on my maternal grandmother's side. who had come from Czechoslovakia. One way that I have always explained UU to others was we have the world religions, and we take their beliefs and their practices and we throw them together and we use them here. So it was so wonderful to know that, oh, wait, here is a specific practice that we have as UUs, and it wasn't from another religion that we use or borrow. All of these things are still true today for me. The ceremony might change depending on church, depending on location, but it's still the basic premise of coming together as communities, celebrating the flowers and our uniqueness together. I still love it because it's also spring. The earth still wakes up. Might be a little earlier out here than it was in Pittsburgh, but it still comes. And there's still a multi-generational aspect to it, especially we've invited the youth to come in to participate with us. And it's also being able to celebrate something that's unique to UU. So I'm really looking forward to celebrating not only that it's a flower communion, it's on Mother's Day, and it's the 100th anniversary with all of you. So I'm just gonna give you the basics of what we're going to be doing with this process. You can see we have the paper ones and we have some live flowers. The paper ones we are going to, as you saw Robin, put into the chalice. And this is then going to become a memory of celebrating 100th anniversary of the flower communion that we're all going to be a part of. So what you will do when you come up, grab a paper flower, put it in the foam board of the chalice, then walk by and pick a flower, one that you did not bring, and then go back and sit down. What we're going to do is so Chris will do the blessing of the flowers, and Robin is going to direct everybody, starting from the back on this side and just coming around, going around and up the middle, starting from the back. And then the youth up here will come up and take care of theirs. And then we'll go over to the other side, starting in the back, coming down the center, picking up the carnation and going back around. Those of you who are not able to come up, walk up, when we get started, raise your hand. I will come and be your flower putter-oner and picker-upper. And those of you on Zoom, I am going to do the same. You'll be given the option of some of the colors. Please let your Zoom host know what colors you want. I'll go and check it out and do my best to meet those requests and put those on also. Right? All right.
All this choreography, if only we'd come to rehearsal. This morning, Robin offered me the opportunity to do the blessing before communion, and I pushed a bunch of stuff around, and I read up on it, and I read that wonderful article that Aaron shared with us earlier, and I couldn't come up with anything better. Out of respect for Reverend Chopek, I decided to simply use his blessing. What struck me in reading about him is I did not know he was in Dachau. And not only was he in Dachau, but he chose to see the flowers. Yeah. And he chose to bring the flowers, and he chose to share the flowers with everybody else. This blessing has been in our hymnal since the hymnal's been out for about 30 years now, but it's in lovely Goth, in the blessings of Providence kind of language. In honor of the 100th anniversary, the UUA commissioned a new translation by Reverend Dr. Peter Samoyski from the original Czech. I won't attempt the original Czech. There are people here who can do it for you, but it's not me. This is the lovely new translation by Reverend Samoyski of Norbert Chopek's original flower blessing. If you wish to raise a hand, send energy to the flowers, send energy to one another, I do that. You may do that at whatever your belief system allows for. In the name of what is holy, in the name of what is good, in the name of that which gives life, we have gathered here in this place today. We have been given life to live under the aspect of eternity, for that is the source of happiness. To work on ourselves and bring happiness into our lives, to be as valid as possible to others with whom we are connected by invisible relationships. You, the flowers, remind us of the wonderful simplicity of the natural order and that we too are a part of it. You remind us of the beauty and harmony of diversity. You remind us that one can feel and perceive and live unity in diversity and diversity in unity. Let the spirit of creative life unite us as it reigns among us. And according to your own tradition, let us all say, Amen, Amen, blessed be. May the force be with you. And so it is, and very much so it is.
Okay, here we go, friends. Chris is going to play us some lovely music as we do this. I encourage you not to chat amongst yourselves, but rather watch the ceremony. Partake in the ritual, even when you're in your seat. What we're going to do again is we're going to start from the back. So I'm going to ask the last 2 rows to go ahead and come on up this way. Keep your eyes on me. When it's your turn to come up, I will let you know. And we're just going to do this thing, guys. Any flower you like. Stick it somewhere. It's a little tricky, apparently, so grab it by the tip and just stick it in there. You got it. And step. almost halfway there. We're doing it, guys. We're doing it. job. Thank you all so much. Look at this beautiful art piece that we just created together. There are technically 100 paper carnations for the 100th, so at some point I'll add the other ones in there for the members who couldn't be here today. And now I invite you to rise as you are able in body and spirit as we pass the mic to Joel for one more beautiful hymn together.
Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers, to live at not so far away, as in the uncertain harvest keep us there, all simply in the springing of the year. I think I have it now. And make us happy in darting bird that suddenly above is heard. Thank you very much. And meet young grasses in with needle bill, and off a blossom in midair stand still. I have one more verse to get it right. For it is love and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends He will, but what is only needs that we fulfill.
All right. We've reached that time. I believe we have a quick video as one of our announcements. So I'll stand here and do this until it plays. Oh, there we go.
Hi, Mountain Vista. My name's Janine Gelsinger. I'm from UU Jazz, and I'm so excited to be with you soon for our class on radical welcoming. What is radical welcoming, you might ask? Well, radical welcoming is going beyond being invitational or inclusive to really creating a place where everyone can feel like they belong. Who should take this class? Well, it's not just for greeters at the door or hospitality teams or membership. We're going to explore what it means to have a congregation where everyone is part of the welcome. Have you ever wondered, did I just put my foot in my mouth? Did I say something that hurt someone's feelings or might have come across as offensive? Have you ever wondered, what's a microaggression? What is everyone talking about? And I wonder if I've ever done one. Or are you someone that's experienced behaviors that felt less than welcoming? And you think that people maybe had a good intention, but you're not really sure how to tell them that they said something to you that doesn't feel super welcoming. Well, we're going to explore all of that in this class. We're going to make it fun, like always, filled with joy, and we're going to practice what it means to live into your promise of being the most welcoming Mountain Vista that you can be. I hope you'll join me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you.
As a reminder, our wooden and woven baskets will be outside of the doors as you exit out of the sanctuary today. The wooden bowls, of course, are for our own congregation here to sustain our work, and the woven basket, I believe, is for the Children's Action Alliance this month. And as we symbolically extinguish our chalice today, I would like to share words with you by Robin F. Gray. Ours is a communion born of words and welcome. Our communion finds expression in caring and commitment to our highest ideals. Our communion lives on in our hearts through this sacred hour, though this sacred hour is ended.